This is Learn It from an 80s Song. Happy New Year. Today, we have a very special guest. His name is Geoffrey Friberg. Now, you might notice his last name is the same as mine. That's because he is my son. He is 11 years old and in 5th grade. So, Geoffrey, I'm so happy to have you here on the show today, and the fact that it is 2021. This is the first podcast of the year, and I can't imagine a better guest to have.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Great. So this is the part of the show where we do the big reveal as to what song is going to best resonate with Geoffrey's story today. So can we get a drum roll, please? Geoffrey, what is the song that best resonates with the story that you're going to tell us today?
Lean on Me.
Yes, Lean on Me. This is the Club Nouveau version from 1987, which they actually won the Grammy that year for Best R&B. Now, here is what's interesting. So Bill Withers is the original Lean on Me from 1972. And sadly, he passed actually in May of 2020. Bill Withers had some incredible music throughout his career, and Lean on Me, as well as many other of his songs, had such great messages. So I love that you picked that song, Geoffrey. Now, here is something very interesting. I also have this soundtrack. So back in the day in the 80s, and this one is from 1987, we had little sound booths that we would get our best friends together and we would go into the sound booth and sing. Well, I only did it once, but I happen to have the one that I did, which is from 1987. And you can see here, folks, it is Lean on Me. And I was with my best friends, Sherry and Kristen, 1987. I want to say I was around 8th grade-ish. So I love that you picked that song. And I just happen to have this cassette tape from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. What I'd love to know, Geoffrey, is that are you at all, familiar with 80s music?
Well, yeah, because every day I come back from school, you're playing 80s on 8 every time in the car. When I come back from sports, when I come back from class, every time.
It's true. And, it's a true story. And I tell them it's because I'm doing research. All right. So this is the part where we actually get to hear Geoffrey's story. So, Geoffrey, tell us your story.
Ring, ring. This phone call turned to be the last phone call I ever hear in the only home I've ever known. Our house was perfect for our family. Friday afternoons, I would hop off the bus and walk into our nice, cool kitchen where I could tell my mom had just been to the grocery store. My favorite spot in the house was in the office near the kitchen where I could relax after a long day of school. In March of 2020, my relaxation zone became my school desk. I have so many memories in this house, from lighting the sparklers on the 4th of July, riding my bike in the trails near our house, my Lego city in the family room, and things I just can't articulate because they are more feelings than actions. I overhear my dad talking on the phone with Joy. Then I hear footsteps of both of my parents approaching my room. Then they told me the news. My heart started beating with joy. I was filled with so much excitement. I ran around my room 50 times and did not get tired at all. Geoffrey, we got the house. As I packed up my room, it was difficult to let go of things such as my life-size cardboard robot I built from scratch. Then I had to say goodbye to my loft treehouse bed and the beach murals that I had since I was born. Today is moving day. Movers were all over the house carrying all of our special items that make up our home. As the rooms became empty, I felt to feel empty and sad. This is the only house I've ever lived in my entire life. Moving feels like a huge transition and a lot of loss. It is the first night in the house, and I have no bed, just a mat on the floor, and a few stuffed animals I might have confiscated in my backpack. It was all new. I had to learn everything from finding the light switches and remembering where the bathroom is. On day 2, Mount Boxmore began to form. That was all the boxes being unpacked, one by one. Half of them seemed to be my mom's closet. Why does a lady need so many shoes? It was chaos for 2 weeks. Painters, our water slide wasn't working. We can't find our chargers. Our house pretty much felt empty. I feel like I'm miles away from the family living in the same home as me. I am becoming increasingly sad because I have so many great things in my life, yet none of them make me feel happy. It's a pandemic. I'm in an unfamiliar house. I haven't gotten to see any of my friends for months. What can I do to get through this? I knew my birthday was coming up, but I really wasn't very excited about it. I could not see all my friends because of COVID, but the guidelines at the time allowed us to be in a small group social distance outside. So we decided on just a few friends to watch a movie outdoors in my new house. It is my birthday. Excitement filled the entire house as my parents made preparations, like individual cookie cakes. Our first guest arrives, all of us wearing masks. It just felt awkward. Friends I have not seen in months arrived at my new house. As time went by, it was like the old times, BC, before COVID. We laughed so much and we could not stop talking. This reconnected me to my friends, and now we have daily conversations, although we can't be together. This birthday turned out to be the best birthday I ever had. I chose Lean On Me because it made me realize how much my friends have helped me get through this tough time. Just a chat with a friend could change my entire mood. My friends made my entire year.
Geoffrey, that is an amazing story. And, moving, is one of the number one stressors. And we happened to do it during COVID. Now, even though it was a few miles up the street, we had all of our family memories in that house. All of the memories that Geoffrey had were in that house. And then also, pretty much all of the memories I had of raising both you and George, Geoffrey's older brother. So, I can see that it would be challenging. And I loved that, your friends are what inspired you to continue to feel better during some really challenging times. Something else that's really interesting is the VIA strengths. So what's interesting is that I did have Geoffrey take the VIA Strengths assessment. So it's called the VIA Character Strengths Assessment. And it really is about finding out who you are to your core. And they do have a child's version of this. The thing is, our brains are hardwired to see things negatively. We see problems. We see bad before good. So by knowing your strengths, you can utilize those and you'll have a lot more positive outcomes. The VIA Character Strengths Assessments are rooted in positive psychology. So they do have the child's version. They have actually 2 of them, and he did the younger child's version. And it was really interesting. He had some great strengths. There are 24 strengths total, and his top 5, Geoffrey's top 5, were gratitude, curiosity, forgiveness, kindness, and love of learning. Those were his top 5. So not only is it great to know what your strengths are, but then also how to see them show up in the world. So by identifying them, by spotting where you use your strengths, it's going to make them that much more accessible and that much more stronger. Now, we all have these 24 strengths, but some of them are our lesser strengths. They're not weaknesses. We may have some at the bottom, but those are not weaknesses. That's just lesser strengths, strengths that we don't access regularly. All right. So, Geoffrey, knowing that gratitude is your number one, how have you used gratitude, throughout 2020, which was a really tough year? And how has it showed up for you, gratitude?
So what I've been trying to do is trying to look on the brighter side of things. Like, well, I can't meet up with my friends, but I can still call them using video chat, which I'm really happy about.
Yes, technology has been amazing to be able to utilize, and I certainly am grateful for Zoom. I'm grateful for podcasting and connecting with my friends as well, and that's great. Yeah, I love that you see that as a silver lining, Geoffrey. The next one is curiosity. Now, during this pandemic, during 2020, a lot of us have dialed into our curiosity, and we've actually picked up some extracurricular activities and some things that we're interested in. And knowing that that's number two for Geoffrey, I'm curious to know I'm curious to know how curiosity has been used for you throughout 2020 and now how you'll use it into the new year.
So what I've been doing lately is I've been coding because it's just so interesting how many possibilities you can do. There's like millions of different languages all having their different things. There's so many possibilities.
Yes, so many possibilities in coding. And that is definitely a foreign language for me that I have not exercised. And I am grateful for Geoffrey's curiosity in this because I recently got a new MacBook and he set up the entire computer for me, organized it. It was amazing, and how quickly and intuitive he did it. It's for the Gen Xers in the world, it was a true gift. Next we have forgiveness. Now his number three is forgiveness, and that's one that a lot of people struggle with, or it might be one of their lesser strengths. But here's why it's beneficial. Forgiveness is unique because it's associated, and I'm getting this from Dr. Nemec's book, for character strengths. As a character strengths practitioner, we love to learn about the research. And here's what the research says. Forgiveness is associated with many physical and psychological health benefits, such as emotional well-being, healthy lifestyle behaviors, social support, and spiritual well-being. People who are forgiving experience less anger, they experience less anxiety, depression, and hostility. So having forgiveness in your top five is a really great place. And for those of us that may not have it up in the top five, it's definitely not in my top five, I have to lean into forgiveness. It's something that, certainly I work on a regular basis. Even though it's not in my top five, I can dial it in, I can lean into it, and I can practice it. And that strength will become stronger because of it. So that's his number three. And then number four is kindness. So Geoffrey, I'd love to know how you see kindness showing up in the world for you.
So the other day, my friend had to tell us that he had to move to a different state, which made us all really sad. So I left a really nice note for him because he was always there for us. So I know we had to be there for him when he needed us. And also another thing, Dad, is that one time at Starbucks, we were just getting a few things. Then when we came up, the cashier said, "Oh, the person in front of you paid for you." I was like, "What?" And then we decided to pay for the two people behind us, which made us feel really happy.
Yes, Jeffrey. And I love that you brought that up because kindness is contagious. So when you're kind to one person, it is like a chain reaction because that person's going to then be kind to the next person and the next person. It creates a ripple effect. So practicing kindness on a regular basis not only helps you with your emotional well-being, but also many people behind you in line at Starbucks. And then lastly is love of learning. And, when you've got curiosity up there in your top 5 and love of learning, studying and learning new things is definitely going to be a skill set that you'll use throughout your life. So thank you for sharing your story, Jeffrey. And thank you so much for sharing your strengths with us and letting us all learn from you. And speaking of we like to talk about 80s trends. What we happen to be wearing today are matching Pac-Man shirts. And, you have played Pac-Man, haven't you?
Yeah, I have before.
That was an amazing game. So one of my favorite games from the 80s was Pac-Man, especially Miss Pac-Man. Do you have something to say about that? Love Miss Pac-Man. All right. And then Jeffrey, I just want to thank you again for sharing your story and sharing how friendship can be really useful and to get you through any obstacle. And I'm thinking about 2021 now. And with 2021, tell me, do you have any 3 wishes? Like if you had 3 wishes, what would they be for 2021?
So my first wish would definitely be to see my friends again. And my second one would be to be going to school in person because, well, it just doesn't feel normal to go to school on Zoom. And my last wish is to be able to travel to Hawaii and get a sweet, sweet shaved ice.
From Ulani's?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we all miss shaved ice and traveling. We look forward to seeing our East Coast friends and family in 2021 and for all of us to get vaccinated. But in the meantime, continuing to wear masks and social distance. And Happy New Year to everyone. We did actually make it till midnight, which was, something during this pandemic that, haven't experienced very much. It's usually early to bed and later to rise. So we wish everyone a happy New Year. And Jeffrey, anything else you want to say before we head off?
Well, thank you so much for having me again today. I am so happy to be here right now.
Yes, and thank you for bringing in Club Nouveau, Bill Withers, Lean on Me, and letting me go down that trip down memory lane with this cassette tape, which I'll have to explain to Jeffrey what a cassette tape is later, because I don't know if he's ever seen one before. All right, until next time, cheers, Happy New Year.